Matthew Hyde's sentencing delayed after power outages, travel mix-up. The sentencing of 21-year-old Matthew Hyde, the former University of the West Indies UWI student who held his girlfriend captive in a dorm room and assaulted her in 2023, has been postponed to November 22nd following a power outage at the Supreme Court on Friday. A travel oversight which saw Hyde arriving to court over 2 hours late from lockup delayed the hearing. Attorneys were observed making checks with the police several times regarding his whereabouts before he finally arrived. Then, minutes into the session, repeated power outages at the Supreme Court shut down the affair. The lights at the King Street Court flickered on and off about 4 times before going out completely. After waiting in vain for several minutes, sitting Judge Justice Caroline Ty Powell, who was in the midst of hearing from Hyde's lawyer, Patrick Peterkin, was forced to reschedule the proceedings. Prior to the blackout, Hyde has asked to speak to the female complainant to issue an apology, which she allowed through her counsel, on the condition she would be allowed to respond. The hearing never got to that part, a fact which frustrated the complainant, according to her counsel, Abika Garden. She is disturbed. We understand that what happened was beyond anyone's control, but she will make herself available for the continuation, he noted. The young woman was not in court physically, but sat in on proceedings via Zoom. Garden told reporters pre-hearing that the woman was hoping for a sentence that fits the abuse, taunter and assault that she suffered. Peterkin, who stressed to the judge that Hyde was not beyond redemption, told reporters pre-hearing that he was hoping for as lenient sentence as possible in the circumstances. Peterkin is also hoping that the judge will take into consideration the contents of the psychiatric evaluation, which he did not detail, that Hyde's time spent in custody, totaling 1 year and around 9 months. In his address to the judge, the attorney mentioned Hyde's youth remorse and psychological fragility as points for Justice Ty Powell to consider. Hyde is facing sentencing on 7 counts, 1 count of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, 1 count of false imprisonment, a count of malicious communication, and 4 counts of causing grievous bodily harm with intent. He pleaded guilty to the charges in September. The charges were leveled at the 21-year-old in February 2023 after he allegedly held his ex-girlfriend captive in his room on the George Ellen Hall at the University of the West Indies Mona between Monday, February 6 and Thursday, February 9, and tortured her, burning her with clothing ironed and beating her. The young woman was rescued by police after she managed to get across to a device and phoned for help. The UWI in 2023 statement had indicated that campus security was notified of the situation and an investigation uncovered evidence of abuse. She was found to have suffered burns all over her body. Campus security immediately advised the campus police along with the Mona police, who quickly responded, rescued the female student, and handed over the accused to the Halfway 3 police station, where he was charged with assault occasioning grievous bodily harm, the UWI stated. Hyde returns to court on November 22nd. Webley resigned from Senate. There are now 2 vacant seats on the government benches in the upper house, with Thursday's resignation of businessman Dan Webley. Senator Webley has reportedly stepped aside to focus on health-related matters. On September 2nd this year, Matty Samuda resigned from the Senate and has since been elected to the lower house following a by-election in the Saint and Northeastern constituency. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is expected to name 2 persons to fill the 2 Senate seats. Members of the upper house were expected to pay tribute to Don Webley, who has served for a decade in the Senate. He was first appointed to the upper house in September 2007 and also served as Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Finance and Public Service for 2 years. He resigned in 2009 and returned to the private sector. 7 years later, Don Webley was again appointed to the upper house. In a media release from the Jamaica House, Prime Minister Andrew Holness praised Webley for his sterling national service through the Senate. Senator Webley has been a steadfast advocate for the needs of the Jamaican people, bringing invaluable commercial and entrepreneurial insight into the legislative process, Holness stated. The Prime Minister added that throughout his tenure, Don Webley championed policies that reflects his commitment to shared property, economic stability, and sustainable national development. According to Holness, the businessman's perspective and sovereign presentation greatly enriched discussion in the Senate, bridging the gap between the public and private sectors and continuing to legislation aimed at creating a more resilient, stable economy that works for the Jamaican people. His contributions have brought a unique private sector perspective to national governance, ensuring the administration's approach remains balanced and forward-looking, Holness said as he wishes Webley a speedy recovery. Meanwhile, the ruling Jamaica Labour Party JLP said it noted Webley's resignation with regret. JLP General Secretary Dr. Horace Chang expressed appreciation to Don Webley on behalf of the party for his contributions to the upper house. Chang said Webley's contributions to Parliament were sober, distinguished, and incisive. He said the former Senator remained a valuable member of the Jamaica Labour Party family and that the party looked forward to his continued contributions. Ruling expected December 6 on PM's request for judicial review of IC report. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is to know on December 6 whether the Supreme Court will grant his request for a judicial review of the Integrity Commission's IC report on his financial affairs. The Prime Minister is seeking, among other things, to have the IC investigation report on his statutory declarations rejected as unlawful and unfair. A judicial review allows the court to scrutinize processes used by a public authority to make decisions. Justice Althea Jarrett heard submission from both parties on Thursday and following their completion on Friday reserved her decision until December 6. Holness applied to the Supreme Court on September 30 for several administrative orders including the review. In the controversial 171-page report, the IC's Director of Investigation, Kevin Stevenson, said he could not conclude on the question of illicit enrichment highlighted unexplained financial discrepancies in Holness 2021 income filings and raised questions about tax compliance and transactions of over $470 million involving connected companies. The IC, which said it could not certify the income declaration, referred the matter to the Financial Investigations Division, citing Holness' failure to provide expense details. However, Holness has denied any wrongdoing, claiming that the report is funded and unfairly suggests unethical and criminal conduct by him and affiliated firms. He wants the Supreme Court to terminate all investigations into his financial affairs, invalidate the report, strike down certain provisions of the Integrity Commissions Act, and declare section of the Corruption Prevention Act used to probe illicit enrichment as unconstitutional. Holness, his company, other investment, and two others connected entities, Positive Media Solution Limited and Positive Jamaica Foundation, are seeking judicial review. Their case is being led by King's Counsel Georgia Gibson Helen of the law firm Helen Gibson Helen. The responses are two senior commissions executive, Director of Information and Complaints Craig Beresford, first respondent, and the Director of Investigation, second respondent, and the commission itself, third respondent. The firm Hilton Paul is representing the IC and its officials, that lead attorney, King's Counsel Michael Hilton, a former Solicitor General of Jamaica. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.